my closest relationships now center around the hours I spent arguing with the other writers or the actors or the directors. I feel like we've been through this 5-year war together, and if I run into them on the street in New York or LA or anywhere, we just have to immediately go to lunch and start telling old stories. So that's the beauty of it. And everything I say, I wanted to make that the preamble to. What is The Wire? It is a political tract masquerading as a cop show. It is an argument that our nation state is becoming less viable and will continue to become less viable. It's about the end of, I think it's one of the most affectionate and funny stories about the end of empire that you could compose, and I am proud that it is basically an argument that every day human beings matter less. All human beings. I mean, some of us may seem to matter more because we get paid more, or we succeed, or we catch a break, or individuals may matter more because it all is a big pyramid scheme. Some people are going to get lucky, and some people are going to think up a better mousetrap, and that's what capitalism is. But on the whole, human beings as a class are going to be worth less. We're already seeing it in our economy. Every time our economy shrugs, we lay off more people. We don't need as many people to run this economy, this service economy, as we did to run an industrial economy. We're going to need even less as automation and as computers do more work. This is not a new, this is nothing that I thought up. If you read William Junius Wilson, if you've been paying attention to anything, this is the 21st century, is where it is the triumph of capitalism, which is, when capitalism triumphs, labor is inherently worth less. When there's a dynamic between labor and capitalism, when capitalism is mitigated, when there's a social policy that prioritizes humanity as opposed to pure profit, there's some balance. America's been chasing that balance ever since the beginnings of the Industrial Revolution. You follow it all. You can follow it all the way back to to Chicago and Haymarket. Even earlier to the Wobblies. This battle has been going on for a while, but it would seem now that in this era of technology, in this era of where the world has gotten smaller and where labor can be utilized, in the Pacific Rim or in South America or anywhere else, and easily obtained for cheaper, it would seem that the battle has finally been won by capital. So if you're high on the pyramid scheme, if you're a little bit higher up, you're going to do a little better than the people below you. But it is a pyramid scheme. And that's what The Wire is about. Season after season after season. Whether you're a detective, whether you're a longshoreman, whether you're a newspaperman who knows his beat, whether you live in one of these neighborhoods and are looking for work, the game is now rigged. That doesn't mean that some people don't get to win. It's like a casino. You go in, and some people get lucky. But the house odds are against you. And that's what the 21st century is, in my estimation. I'd like to say something happier, but that's just not my way. It's not there'll be no laugh track today unless you guys provide it. But having said that, I do think it's a very humanistic show. I think that it has a great deal of affection for its characters. I think it's aggressively interested in the characters, and I think we try to be as funny as we can, given the material, because without the humor, it would be unbearable to watch. But that in no way mitigates the idea of tragedy. that is at the core of this thing. Who did we steal from? We stole from the Greeks. We stole from Aeschylus and Euripides and Sophocles, the tragedians, not Aristophanes, not Funny Boy, but the other guys. And we stole early and often and continuously. For those of you who want to argue why Omar had to die or why Stringer had to die, strap on a helmet, get in the game. Read Antigone, read Medea, read Oedipus Rex. It had to happen. I mean, and the reason that we went back to that tradition is much of Western drama is really dominated by Shakespeare and post-Shakespeare. Everything from Chekhov to O'Neill to Ibsen, all that good stuff. It's rooted in the individual struggle against himself and his environment, and there is a presumption that starts to become apparent in Shakespeare's later plays. Not so, there is a certain sense of fate in some of his plays, but in the ones that everyone takes great note of is having in that sort of arrogant phrase of Harold Bloom, the plays that supposedly invented human personality. They didn't invent human, but they invented the characterization of it. Hamlet and Lear, and it is the individual struggling against himself or against his confines, and nothing is assured. It's in what he does in the drama that will determine the outcome. Nothing is foreordained entirely, and that's why, and that's the part that speaks to us as moderns. Because, listen, we have a hard time with religion, most of us. I mean, if you're fundamentalist, you don't. You got a book and you follow it, and the rules are all written down for you. But if you're in the world and you're sort of thinking, you're thinking for yourself in terms of, well, what do I think and how's this working and where's, no book is the answer just because it says it's the answer. You're evaluating stuff. We have a hard time placing the idea of ourselves beneath fate itself, beneath God. We want to believe that we're in control of our lives. That if we eat the right things and cross at the crosswalk and don't find ourselves in the middle of a war zone, and if we do all the right things and are good to the right people and take care of ourselves, a place will be made for us. And that's sort of the modern way of being, and that's that great illusion of being in control, which as Americans we've never mind the country's manifest destiny. We all believe we all have manifest destiny for ourselves. And this notion of the Greeks where, you're just walking down the street and some Olympian god hits you in the ass with a thunderbolt just because he doesn't like the way you look, or because it was your turn, or because, the Oracle of Delphi said that you were going to die in a certain way and for a certain reason. And it's all foreordained. That kind of, that the last people hang on to something like that were the Calvinists, and they didn't get very far with it. We rebel at that. But the truth is, I'm not sure that in this postmodern world of ours, that's not a more applicable political sentiment. So we stole from the Greeks and we made the gods into institutions. That was the shtick. And I'll be honest, we could have gone 5 years and nobody would have figured that out. But I gave a bunch of interviews after first season or before second season to just so people would start writing about the subtext of the show, because otherwise it was going to be a cop show, and they were just going to write about it as a cop show. Once you start throwing around names like Euripides, Euripides pants, you buy these pants. That's the Marx Brothers. The other thing that I have to sort of honor right now is we stole a great deal of material from what I regard as the most relevant and important political film of the last century, and I think it's going to be applicable in spades right through this one, which is a 1961 film by Stanley Kubrick called Paths of Glory. Has anyone seen Paths of Glory?